If you want to explore the Ikim Solo System, maybe you may feel yourself overwhelmed by the huge amount of material that is available for downloading from the VGG. This video tries to give some orientation in this regard. Well, as I have explained it previously, the Ikim Solo System consists of a deck of cards that activate the reich faction and a scenario that Ikim, Michele's managed, share with the community. For me, this system is pure magic. Why? Because you only need 17 cards to activate a whole faction in a solid, fluid and flexible way. This is amazing. I was shocked. I had a blast and a lot of fun when I tried it for the first time. So this system is quite affordable and needs a very little setup. This is very important when you are looking for something light and quick. The original deck is going to activate the reich faction, making that the character attack any enemy in his path or moving them towards the closest crate or the closest enemy that are the main destination for this character with these original cards. One of the main problems I had playing with the original cards was the fact that sometimes the reich faction was too much attached, too much glued to the crates, resulting in an unrealistic feeling. For making more dynamic the reich faction, I have introduced some new concepts and some new destination for the reich character. In this case has been introduced the concept of objective in play, so the character can move towards them and not only towards enemy crates. As well has been introduced the destination of the enemy entry point. So this make much more dynamic because whenever there is an objective in play, an object that has been searched and found for your faction, they are going to persecute who is holding one objective, and they are going to cover the entry point, your entry point, where you can leave them. So it's going to be more dynamic and more realistic in this sense. Apart from that, little changes introduced in the cards has been developed different factions to have different flowers when you use the system and to implement them in different scenarios. Let's sit down. I'm going to explain a bit the 5 scenarios available. The first one, along in the castle, pits your faction for character against the reich in the Kisias castle. You have to find the same 3 objectives that the original scenario indicate. No difference. Is an adaptation more for the art. The mechanic is more or less the same. The second scenario, along in the CATACOMB, you have to play it against the reich as well, but it's recommended to use another character as the Frankenstals and host to give, or Yula to get a different flower. Cards of this character for Ikim Solo System are available as well. Imply a different approach because you have to find 4 charge that has been planted by the reich, and you may use 5 characters instead of 4. The charge can be neutralized by bringing them to an entry point or by making a test. So it's a very different way of playing in this case. The third scenario along in the priori takes place in the Tesla priori board, but is basically the same as the first one, so not too much changes, just a change of art, and you have to play against the matriarchy faction. The fourth, along in the jungle, takes place in the jungle map, Okinawa map, and you have to play against the shogunate faction. This is a very different approach because instead of finding 3 objectives, you have to rescue a survivor that might be in 3 different points. So you have to search that 3 points, and once you have found the survivor, you have to bring him to the entry point of your faction. It's not finished still because I have to refine how the survivor works. I need to make him more tests to confirm that it's playable. The other 3 previous scenarios are playable. The last one, the 5th, along in the labyrinth, takes place in the labyrinth map, and you have to play against the mythical faction, which is composed by Asteros, Revenants, and Medusa. This one is as well pending of more tests because I have found that Asteros, it doesn't work as I suspected. The objective is to recover this scroll. You have to take it from Asteros and try to survive crossing the whole labyrinth and going to the north entry points. As I say, it's still pending of more tests, but it's a different approach as well. These is 5 scenarios can be played standalone, or you can play it as a campaign that I'm preparing. I have adapted all these scenarios to a system in which after you finish the scenario, you may receive some bonuses or penalties depending on your result. The campaign is one of the projects I have to finish. I will provide more info at the end of the video. The funniest version of all these expansions for me has been the matriarchy, but I wouldn't suggest you to play with them in your face gameplay. It would be better starting with the original one and later, if it likes you, going through other more dynamic versions. Making your own faction for the Ikim Solo System is not difficult at all because you only need 17 cards, so you have to keep in mind that it only needs 3 cards per each character. When you develop each card, you have to take in account his equipment packs. For instance, one of the cards can be based on the combat pack, other in his stamina pack, and the other one in his command pack. So if you feel creative, you might consider developing your own 3 cards for those characters that you like, or a whole faction. For instance, it would be nice to implement 3 cards for Red Skull and adding to the Reich, or Dog Sabbath to add him to the Union, or Indiana Jones, or the Hellboy faction, or the Moeller's Hermetica. Could be very interesting to explore the possibilities of developing more cards. One last thing that I want to mention is the fact that these original rules doesn't cover all the possible situations that you might face during gameplay. So I played the system following my own rules about this situation not specified in the original rules. I'm going to leave you a quick a summary explanation of some of these
The Tannblitz variant introduces a series of new concepts and changes to the original scenario and cards of the Ikim Solo System. Additionally, some tips and interpretations are suggested to make the gameplays more natural and realistic. It is up to each player to decide whether to apply them or not. This variant does not try to cover all the possible cases that can occur. In doubtful situations, it is convenient to keep flexible and taking into account the official rules. The AI cards contain a new concept, which is the objectives in play. An objective in play is one of the objectives that has been searched from a crate, and which may be being carried by a player's character or not. For instance, if the holder of an objective has been killed, that objective would be on the circle where he died. Therefore, in this variant, the AIS units can be directed towards objectives in play and the holders can be persecuted. Additionally, this variant adds AI cards with entry points as destinations for the AIS units. So the AI units may be covering this key points to avoid the player accomplish the mission. Adjacency rule. When an AI card direct an AI unit to the nearest crate, if this one already has an AI unit adjacent, the AI unit that has to move goes to the next nearest. Tie rule. When there is an equal distance between two possible destinations for an AI unit, roll a die to resolve the tie. Movement rule. When an AI unit have to move according to the AI card drawn, the unit move its full movement value, unless there is an obstacle or an enemy in its path, a player's character. In that case, stops adjacent if able, and perform its action according to its card. The AI unit only pass through an enemy when movement points left, and there is a special rule in the card that allows it to continue its movement. Round rule. In general, it must be place 1 trooper, Skogtruppen, Ashiru, Voivodes, etc. Depending on the scenario, on the second round, but no more in the next rounds, and that except if there is a special rule in the scenario. Crate rule. Crates that don't have numbered objectives are not considered blanks as in the original rules, and they give the pictured item.
Precisely another crate, so it could move toward this other crate.